Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to TSCC Live again. I'm your host today, SK, and we have again here our guest speaker, Peter Fachai. Hello, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Still remember what Peter shared last week about his experience in Mongolia? So the 4 topics that actually he was covering, the first 2, which is his opportunity in Mongolia, and also the ministry that he served in. And then today he will continue to share a little more details about the opportunity in Mongolia. And also he will be sharing about those who are interested to go to do missions in Mongolia, what's the preparation to be get ready, what to prepare, all this. And then after that, who should go? So Peter, okay, hand over to you the mic now.
All right, so I think we'll continue with the opportunities, and then we were talking about education field and business. Yeah. I think one thing I just want to highlight, I can focus on is we need professionals to be there. Yeah, I think it's nowadays everywhere in the world, especially the young generation, we're all aware of many things already. Somehow, like many things we can look from YouTube, from Google, and just a lot of things we already know. Yeah, and so, but we need the professionals who can really inspire us, who can really show how it's done, and they're confident with what they're teaching.
I see.
And, what they show us. And also it's useful for the schools, the host school that are going to employ you, because they do have the accreditation to do.
Yep.
And so if we have more, let's say in education term, PhDs or well-experienced professionals, and they will give credits to their school.
I see.
And so many schools welcome those professionals.
I see.
And so it is helpful for professionals when we go out there. You have more like open doors.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's not just only school, profession in all the other field, like even like you see most of the country, the profession they need like nursing, like all these doctors, all these.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since like for example in Singapore we have a lot of business owners and people, and so I think we can really make use of that as well.
Yeah,
they'll welcome
the investment in there.
Right, the
in
idea.
Fact, I remember you were sharing last week that the welcome investment, even small industry or this, right?
Yeah, and we do a lot of sustainable, approaches, and so those are new, and they would like to see those innovative, those new ideas, and I think they will welcome those people with professional, qualifications. Right.
Okay. So then we move on to the next topics. The preparations to go to. Let's say if today I say I want to go to do the missions in Mongolia. So what kind of things that I need to get prepared? And what is your suggestions and your sharing that before you go? Actually, what have you prepared yourself? Okay.
Yeah, so I think you can never really prepare enough.
Yes, we are always not ready, but we have to be ready.
every mission field, once you get there, it just surprise, and it will surprise you beyond what you can actually imagine. So, but these are the few things that I learned in my experience. So I think I'm just going to share. But this is a disclaimer. You may want to do more research for yourself. And so for myself, I think you need to be very clear with your calling.
I see.
Because it's not going to be easy. So once you say, I'm going to go here, then you need to really make sure that it's God's call, and you're going to strive no matter how difficult it will get. Because it is not at all as fancy as it sounds sometimes. Being a missionary, it's not an easy road. And so you need to prepare spiritually, mentally, physically, even financially. Just in every aspect, you need to be really well prepared and to go there, especially the spiritual part. In the mission field, it's a very different. The spiritual warfare that we talk about is real, it's true in the mission field. The attack, the spiritual warfare is really powerful, and so you need to be very careful. And I think those are a very crucial initial part. And then the second part would be. It is recommended, I would say highly recommended, but not always necessary to have a supporting church that will send you. And that will be like your home, your mother church. So that whenever you have time to come back to your home, then they can welcome you, they can take care of you. They can encourage you, they can pray for you, they can support you financially, and also join a mission agency or organization.
I see.
And so it works like two groups together. the church and the mission organization. And you walk through that. Why the mission organization? Because in the field, you have a team when you work with the mission organization. And so that the team in the mission field is so important for your sustainability.
I see.
Yeah, otherwise when you're alone, it gets really lonely sometimes, and you can give up easily.
So in Mongolians, you are there, right? Before you take up the mission, you was there to study, right? So is the mission organization there that look for you, or you actually go approach them at that time?
So that's why I said I didn't have a mission organization.
Yeah.
So I was mostly exploring that time. I was a tent maker, and so I didn't really go through any mission agency. Yes. And I didn't have also a churches that support me.
Okay, wow.
And so it was really tough. But as I said, as we have said last week, that I was really rejoicing after I started serving the Lord. It worked out.
Yes.
But it's harder without a team.
I see.
Yeah, and so that's why I said if I go again, and I'm going to go again full time after my studies here in Singapore.
I see.
I would surely go through a mission organization and try to find a sporting church, a sending church that will support me, that will pray for me.
And you can do more things. Really.
Yeah, it is just more opportunities. You have the ministry fund that you can really invest in all these things. And so I think it really helped out with those.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's amazing. You are alone, and without this 3 points that you just pointed, you can still go. So God's amazing. He's giving you all the strength, and then He also give you a wider vision now that you can do more if you can go to this 3 support that you actually just mentioned.
Yeah, so I think what the main lesson that I learned was my limitations there. Yep. You know, that what I cannot do. And it's like there were a lot of wishes, there were a lot of vision, and that I just couldn't do it by myself.
I see.
And many people, the many pastors whom I met there in the mission field, they also only encouraged me to find a mentor, to find a church, an organization that will really support and journey with you, you know, as you go through this. Yeah, and so those are, I think, very important part. And I think we were talking about the parent side.
Yes.
So like, you know, it's not always easy for parents to say like, okay, you know, my daughter is going to become a missionary. I think it's not easy even for you, right?
Yes, true. I don't think the parents will suggest. Actually, the calling is on you. They will not call to the parents to ask you, correct?
Yeah, I think it's always very hard for parents to say like, okay, my son is going to become. I want my son or my daughter to become a missionary. More of that,
unless they are in the same thinking. If not, there will be more rejection than to agree.
Right. And which is quite similar to my parents as well. You know, even though they're so prayerful, my mom goes to, you know, like my mom fasts every Saturday and she would pray for us. She would sometimes herself go for evangelism, you know.
I see.
But when I had to go, she was very reluctant to let me go.
Even though she's a Christian.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So for parents, they're always hard. So how do we prepare our children actually?
Yes.
If we ourselves couldn't go already, like what about our children, you know? Like how do we actually talk about mission? I think it's, for me, it was the growing up time, my parents really made Christianity very interesting, first of all.
Yes.
I think I already shared, like every Sunday, you know, I remember my mom would get up very early because our Sunday school is at 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
So we need to, so she would get up by like 5, sometimes 5:30, and she will fry rice for us.
Oh.
And so she'll wake us up, and she'll make it very fun. You know, she'll give us an offering and a nice jacket to wear and then go and do that. And make it so fun.
I see.
And then I went to my uncle's family, and who are a missionary and a pastor. Then they make it mission very interesting again.
So you actually, your idea of going to mission from young, it actually was influenced by your uncle.
Yeah, so I never had negative idea about church or mission because my parents and my uncle and my auntie made it so interesting for me to see being a missionary. So I remember when we were in my aunt's house, she would invite, whenever missionaries come back home for their furlough or their home assignment, she would invite them to come to our house. Yeah. And then she would request them to make a full report like they would in the church, in our house, just for us, for the children mostly.
I see.
And then in the process of that, she would cook a very nice food, dinner for us, and then she would bake homemade milk tart or a carrot cake, whatever. She would ask us like, what do you want to have?
This is missionary from other places, is
right,
it?
Right.
Yeah. Actually, they actually went to your hometown in India.
Also, they are from India, like Indian missionaries who went out and they come back for home assignment.
It's just sharing what their mission overseas.
Right. It's like their mission report.
I see. Yes.
So it's the official report, but they did it in our house for us, the children.
I see.
And so, like eating our, milk tart or the carrot cake and drinking tea and listening to this report, and it's just so nice, And I see the joy in the missionaries, even though they didn't have much.
That's when you are a kid already.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, these people,
good.
like, what made them so happy? Like, they are just like me, struggling. They don't have much, but yet they're so happy.
Okay.
Like, what? I want that. I want to
see.
have.
Now you are in the mission, so you know the joy of what they
now
have
I have
now.
the.
No, you actually can look back into your childhood. Wow, that's what the missionary enjoying about. Yes.
So I think creating that environment is so important. I think.
Yes.
And also I think for my uncle, my auntie, they show me that they are so willing to go. They're so willing to give. They're so willing to pray.
I see.
They're so willing to take care of missionaries. So everything they also show me practically. Not only told me to do it, but they also did it. I saw them do it. I saw them live out what it's like to be a missionary, to support a missionary, to help a missionary, and to pray for a missionary.
That's good.
So those are important preparation as parents, I think.
I see. So that's okay. Then how about the who you think that's supposed to go to this mission? Who you suggest?
Yeah, I think for me this is my passion, I would say.
Yes. Your opinion.
To recruit as many people as possible for mission. But I think every Christian is called to be a missionary. Every Christian is a missionary at heart. We're supposed to be sharing the good news to everybody. And so, the commandment to go and share the good news and to be a blessing to all nations is not a commandment only found in the New Testament. Yeah. It has started way before in the Old Testament with Abraham, or even from Adam and Eve, where God said, like, multiply. So God's vision was for Him to dwell among His people throughout the world, right? But then we broke that thing. That His vision was broken, and now He's trying to establish again and again through Abraham, through Isaac. Keep trying to do it. And so I think the same thing till now, to be a blessing to all these nations, to bring them into God's presence once again. It's in every Christian's duty and call to do it. But having said that, I do agree, and I believe that different people have different calling.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Like some people are called to go physically to the mission field.
Yes.
Some people are called to pray for the missionaries. Some people are called to support financially. Some people are called to take care of the missionaries whenever they come back home, or to just visit them and encourage them, So I think different people have different roles and different calls, but we are all a part of that mission. We are all called as missionaries.
I see.
Yeah, to go. Yeah, I think that's my perspective. Yeah.
So in fact, I would say, as what you said just now, we will not be ready, but everybody will be ready.
Right.
So in a sense that actually what in the Bible says is that actually wherever you go, God is with you. So you don't have to worry. Just move forward.
Right. I think once we step out, I think the first step is always the hardest one to take. And it's very scary. Sometimes we don't really know what to expect there. But I think if we have the heart to go, I think God will guide us. And I cannot even express the experience and the spiritual growth.
Yes.
That I had in Mongolia
In fact, if the same thing I went for the first mission trips, the fear is there because you are moving out of comfort zone. You're going to an area that is totally new, totally unknown to you. Okay, even though the rest were telling you, don't worry, we're there for many years. So that first step is a difficult one. So the moment you step in, everything will be guided.
Right.
You have to. Everything will be arranged a path. It's God already planned the path for you, so you actually don't have to worry.
Yeah, and then I think it's about adventure as well.
Yes.
Adventures with God. You get to see what God can show you, what God can actually do for you and through you. And so I think it's a great journey to see God's nature, the bigger picture of God as well.
Yes, correct.
And I think for young people, I want to encourage. I think for my kind of like a ending comment as well, that. I watched a video about a sister, Catholic sister. Her name is Claire. They call her Sister Claire. She was such a young, brilliant woman, and she wanted to aspire to become a Hollywood actress, and very pretty, vibrant, very good at acting, and just so joyous, like energetic. But then I think she became born again, to make it short. and then she committed herself to become a sister in a church, and then she went as a missionary to Ecuador and other places that God called her to go. And while they were in the Ecuador, she taught songs and taught English and other subjects, and just taking care of the dorm and everything, just having community with the students there. And she was just everywhere, making everybody laugh, and so much. So all her energy that she wanted to use in the Hollywood, she shifted to mission. It was just so cool to see to see her with that energy and with that level of expertise and like that. But then they were with her friend. They would talk like, who would die first? Do you think we'll die young and stuff like that? And then she would say like, I think I will die young like Jesus. I might die at 33. Like, so her friends would be like, why you keep talking about dying young? Like, are you not afraid to die young? And I really like what she said. She said, I'm not afraid to die young, but I'm afraid to die without doing what God has called me to do.
Correct. In fact, if as a Christian you die young, is a blessing because you go to heaven earlier.
Right. Yeah. The more important thing is not about dying, but actually it's about the task.
To complete the task that we have been assigned in this life.
That really touched me.
Right?
Yeah. And so just like the psalmist, if we know that our days are numbered, then we will live our life very differently.
True.
Like how much, as much as I can, I'm going to spend my life for Jesus. I'm going to share His good news to people, His love, share. I don't have time to waste,
Precisely.
Yeah, I think so. For young people, I think it's the right time to go when we have energy and full of passion, and this is the time to inspire. And so that's how I would like to encourage my fellow young people.
So got one more question. Since you are in Mongolia for a few years, right? Comparing now you're in Singapore for quite a few months already. So the youngsters now, or the society in Mongolian, right? So in terms of the youngster, in terms of the people, the majority that's staying there, what is the challenges that they are facing, like similar to Singapore, or what is in comparing the two countries, students and also the in general all the people that's staying there?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I think for most young people nowadays, everywhere, I think. Kind of similar challenge, and that is to get into the world with a stable income and a stable life and all these things. So they do have that pressure, but in some countries they do have more opportunities. In some countries less opportunities, but the worries are the same. Places like in Mongolia, opportunities are less, so they are looking forward to other countries.
Going outward of
out of the country, and so which is a sad thing, and we want to encourage. That's why all these education, business are important to go there to help them establish and say, we can help. The Mongolian youth can actually help, but they're almost giving up hope because there's just no opportunities for them. And so, in terms of anxiety and stress and all these, I think it's very similar.
It's similar.
Yeah, very similar. They do have questions about existence. They do have questions about identity crisis and their philosophy and all these things. Very common everywhere. And so learning their culture, the youth culture, I mean.
Yes.
I think if we can learn one youth culture in one country, I think we can already apply to many other countries.
Okay, thanks for the sharing on this one. So we're almost coming to the end of the sessions. We can see our, thanks Peter for sharing all the experience in Mongolia. And you can see the joy of him from a start of not willing to accept the mission. And when he was there, he started to so-called experience the God's calling. And then after that, he accepted the mission. And the joy that he has described with us for all the ministry of all the things. In fact, he looked like to me that he's more busy, he's more happy. Correct?
Yeah, I think the more you're busy with God's work, I think that the fulfillment is just there. I always describe this as, the living water.
Yeah, I think you forget about tiredness. Actually, you enjoy it. You forget about the times and all this, right?
It's like I always describe this as so precious. There is a stream that flows through the desert. Like how is that possible? It's unthinkable, but it's true. In the hardest time, in the busiest time, like. When we commit our life to Jesus and then we work for it, there's just that joy that comes. It's not controlled by the external experiences, situations. I
strongly believe that as long as you're willing to serve God, you put everything into it, you draw the energy from God. So you don't have to worry about you have no charms, everything will be arranged as long as you're willing to answer to the call.
Yeah, and we feel like anytime in case, just like the Sister Claire said,
yes.
if I'm going to die at 33,
correct.
like I'm ready, you know,
yes,
I feel
right.
like I'm fulfilling as much as I can
okay. yes.
to do today, you know, like if I see somebody in need of financial help, okay. I'll do it.
Yes.
Encouragement, I will do it. Somebody, even a compliment nowadays, I'm working on my compliment. If I see somebody with a really nice, you know, looking like dress, I'm like, gonna do it. I'm gonna tell him or her right away. I don't waste, you know, like, yeah. So I think, yeah, I such a fulfillment in my heart to serve the Lord and to live for Him.
Okay, thank you very much for Peter sharing, and thank you for this
thank you for having
session.
me.
So, okay, we stay tuned again next week on TSCC Radio Station. I'll see you again in 1:30 every Saturday. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.